All right, good morning, everyone. It's Monday. Oh no, Tuesday morning, kicking off the week. We got Liam from Team Taggart PGH, and we're just gonna kind of recap a big event we had up in Pittsburgh. Jack put together the event. Greg is trying to join us. He's getting having some technical difficulties. But morning, Liam.
Morning, Mark. How's it going?
Good man. So I know you're a little bit under the weather and whatnot, but thanks for doing this. But
Yeah,
yeah, let's
apologies to everybody for my voice right now. It's a little raspy.
now he got the radio voice going on. But
Yeah.
yeah, let's kick it off then. So maybe kind of give us a quick or brief recap of when the event was and how was it? What your thoughts were from what you saw of it.
Y- Yeah, so Jack put on a really great event this weekend. I made it to so Friday night, kind of when everybody got there. Some people were there like a whole week though. I think Mikey was there like a whole week, kind of, exploring Pittsburgh, seeing what was going on. But Friday night we had an event at a local like pizza spot, brewery type thing, and he had a couple speakers at that. So he had his HVAC guy who is a little bit more up north, I think. Um, but he seemed pretty experienced with like the investment type stuff as well, and the management side of things. And also he was touching on like AI type of stuff a lot as well, and how to like implement that into your business going forward. Um, so started off with that. Then Alex Deacon, obviously we all know him. He kind of did his spiel for a while. Everybody got to ask him questions. That was most of his time up there, was just people kind of asking him questions since he's been in the business for so long. And then we ended it with Greg, our contractor friend who might be joining today. He spoke for a while as well, kind of like the nuances of Pittsburgh properties, and what to think about when you're getting into rehabs on some of these, when it comes to like mold or wet basements, or whatever it may be. So having three speakers that night was really nice. And then just like a lot of kind of networking in between every one of the speakers. We were talking for 10 or 15 minutes. um, I got to meet everybody who was there, which was really nice, put some faces to the names and stuff. So yeah, it was pretty productive. And then Saturday they did a bus tour. I didn't end up being able to go to that because I had to go to the doctor for something in the morning, but Jeremy held it down for like 2.5 hours on the bus, and they kind of drove all throughout some different areas of Pittsburgh, um, and kind of talked through. I mean, I'm sure they touched on a whole bunch of stuff. When you get Jeremy on next time, you'll have to discuss that as well, or if Mikey comes on or something, because I'm sure there's a ton that was discussed with Jeremy on that bus tour as well.
Yeah, anyone mentioning the Bears will be blocked from this channel for a few weeks.
Yep.
Pitiful, man. But yes, the Steelers did win. Aaron Rodgers looked pretty good.
I'm a Bills
Um,
fan. I went to bed at the beginning of
oh,
the fourth quarter, and then I woke up. I was like, "Yes."
that killed me also. That I lost every fantasy league I'm in this week because of that game and because of the Bears. Where Greg is trying to join. Hold on, let me add him in here. Um, there we go. Hey, what's up, Greg? If you are, if possible, Greg, are you, if some way you can move your camera maybe a
What's
little
up,
bit
dude?
further from your face. Right now, your face is barely fitting into the. But thanks for joining us. Yeah, so Liam was giving us a little recap of his thoughts of the events. He wasn't able to kind of maybe do his part as far as speaking on the Saturday bus tour, but he did mention that you did get to speak on Friday, right? So, what was your thoughts of the event, and kind of maybe what did you cover in your portion when when you got a chance to speak?
Yeah, sorry for being late. The service is kind of bad here, so if for some reason stuff's not going through, just let me know. Um, yeah, so the event was great. Loved it. Really good to see everybody that I've chatted with in the group. Yeah. I lost connection. Can you
We can
guys
hear
hear
you
me?
still. Yep, you're good, Greg.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, I've got crap connection. Hey, let me try to
You're good.
find Let me try to drive somewhere where I
All
have
right, no
better
problem,
vision.
man. And all I want to say is, how come you did your hair for the event? And for my lives, you come. Oh, how was you? He
You
was all,
probably just got done demoing a bathroom or something like
yeah.
that.
But funny you mentioned Mikey, because Mikey, I was trying to get him on today to also give his thoughts, and I won't say what I told you why he didn't come on, but yeah, he's not going to join us today. But I want to say good morning to everyone tuning in. We got Frank, Old Guy REI. I see a lot of people that were at the event. So Mikey's here, J6 here. They were all at the event, so maybe we'll get them on one day for their thoughts also. But is this kind of maybe a common thing for you, like out of state investors putting together a little get together in person meetup, or is this kind of the first one you've seen?
No, because what's nice about this group is like you guys have like your own little kind of community that, you're all kind of on the same wavelength with things. You're all somewhat interested in the same investment strategies and markets. So that's a little bit different. Like you guys are coming with a group of people. So we're able to like, Jack's able to put on an event for all these people and kind of like learn a little bit about Pittsburgh when you're here. Usually it's, we have a lot of out of state clients, but it's usually like one off here and there. It's not like, a group of people coming with the same mindset and same goals, trying to learn about the area. So that was really nice. It was very efficient. You get a whole group of people in the room and, you can answer all these questions and stuff. But yeah, usually it's like someone's interested in the market. We're talking to them for a while and they're like, oh, planning a trip for, this month or 2 months from now. I'm like, okay, let me know when you have plans solidified. I'll make myself available. We'll come to town for a couple days. We'll try and knock out as many showings as we can. And then during the showings, we're like, I kind of like try to teach them as much as possible about the areas and stuff. But this kind of format, it works really well. It definitely does. Maybe there's a world where Jerry and I I don't know, a couple times a year say, hey, like to our out of state investors, we might do this thing where, if you want to come to town, we're going to put together this other, this meetup of some kind for out of state investors. We think that'd be helpful for people. But no, it definitely works well. It's a different format than what we're used to, but it's very, very effective. It seems like.
Yeah, I see Rad tuning in also. He was also at the event, and I think everyone had a great experience. I think like same thing for you guys. You guys got to meet a lot of people you guys are connecting with over the phone, but for a lot of people that went there, it was also good to meet, some of the boots on the ground, and also like you said, they got to see a lot of the areas. So even Mikey's one of those that went there probably about a week ahead of the event, kind of driving around, checking out areas, checking out his properties and whatnot. I did hear a few people mention they were kind of surprised at maybe they thought Pittsburgh would be bigger in a sense, or the. So I don't know. Do you hear that often?
Yeah, like the downtown area is very small. There's a lot of like sprawl going on, but it's not a huge city. Like you can get everywhere within like 15 minutes, which is nice. I mean, sometimes if you're going from like the South Hills, up north through the tunnels all the way up north, like it'll take you longer if you have traffic or whatever, but generally you can get everywhere in like 15, 20 minutes. So it's a small city and it's got like a lot of neighborhoods sprawling out from the downtown section.
That was one thing I heard quite a bit. The hills. A lot of people were kind of surprised at how hilly it
It's
was.
very hilly, yeah.
I think you and Jeremy might have touched that also before that as far as the hills is kind of also reasons why maybe there's not as much development, right? Like new houses being built and what, right?
Yeah, in my opinion, it's just like the topography. It's just harder to find some lots that make sense, or they're just harder to build on because they're so hilly. Um, so I think that's why maybe certain sections of the city don't see as much development, or you know, my thought on why like we're not seeing the city just get turned over like crazy, like some of these other cities that you can just build out forever. Um, but Pittsburgh is just the topography is a little bit, harder to manage when it comes to the development side, in my opinion. I mean, I've never done any development, but that's just looking at it at some of these hills and where these properties are placed.
I want to say good morning to Big Andy, who also was at the event. He wasn't able to make it Friday, so he didn't see a lot of the speakers on the Friday evening, but he was on the bus tour, and he said, "Yeah, a lot of great information from Jeremy." I see Josh Burdick tuning in. Hope you're recovering well from your surgery. I know you had surgery a few weeks back. Hopefully that's going well. Hyder's here, and Hyder also mentioned there was also a Gary, Indiana meetup, kind of that same time period. So, that's like you mentioned earlier. That's kind of what's great about this community. People that are investing in certain markets, they're building this little of their own, kind of teams and going to check out these markets. So Gary, Indiana, where Millennial Mike was first investing, and other people has piggybacked on his system. So they had a great meetup also there.
Yeah, it's a great proof of concept for sure.
Mikey says got to experience the PGH lefts in the tunnel.
Oh yeah. Yep. There's a couple locations where it's just like where you merge and stuff. You got like 100 yards to get over like 4 lanes and go through the tunnel. It's a mess. They're doing some overhauls on those. Actually, I just saw like there's this one that's just notoriously bad, the Squirrel Hill Tunnel, which always gets backed up and stuff. But I guess I just saw some article. They're doing like a $138 million, like kind of transforming that whole section and renovating it and making it much more efficient or whatever. So we need a whole bunch of that, to be honest. I think your audio just went out, or maybe
Oh,
it's
I
there. You
see
go.
Joe V tuning in, and I said you must have missed me saying if anyone mentions the Bears game will be blocked
I saw
for
that too.
1 month. So yeah, knock it off. Yes, I'm very upset about that right now. But Josh Burdick says hilly locations are exciting in winter. So that's if people haven't heard also, I'm not sure if I mentioned it to you, Liam, but Mikey was actually like kind of like he could see himself moving there, like living there,
Hmm.
like relocating. But of course, he definitely wants to experience the winters first, and I think that would be a lot of people's concerns, right? But I told Mikey, man, you just that's the time you'd either be in Hawaii or somewhere else, right? So,
Exactly.
um, but you said you're from Buffalo, right? Or
Yeah.
yeah, so the
Yep.
winters for you.
I'm from like Western New York, just a little bit south of Buffalo. So like I'm used to like pretty bad winters. Like here, I think the winters are pretty mild overall. Um, we have a couple weeks out of the year where it gets pretty cold, but not too bad from what I'm used to. And then the the snow here is different. Like we'll get one like big snow, but it won't stick. Like it'll melt within like a day or two. Back where I'm from in Buffalo, like we get one good snow and it's there for like weeks at a time. So here it's like the hills and the snow, it's not as bad as you might think. Like you can still get around and stuff. Um, I think the only times where it's bad is if like we just get a really good snow and then they haven't gotten the trucks out to like salt and everything, then it could be a little sketch. But overall it's not as bad as you might think in the winter times and navigating the hills and stuff.
J6 says grass is greener in Pittsburgh.
Hmm.
um, Jen is asking if Hyder. I think Hyder's not in Gary right now, so he may have been finished with whatever work he was working on. And part of I think what people likes about the Pittsburgh group and meetup and whatnot is also the transparency from you folks, Jeremy, Alex, kind of even Greg, kind of what things you may see in the market or what things to watch out for. And that's also kind of like Hyder, going to Gary and piggybacking off Millennial Mike. Millennial Mike has a great video out recently about some troubles he's having on a property that
Hmm.
he's invested in. So he's very transparent about that. And that's also, I think I mentioned on one of Mike's videos recently, is that's kind of also why I like the lower price point markets is, if you do have problems, which will happen to no matter how seasoned of investor you are, the holding costs, and it's easier to manage. It's a little more manageable, I think, if you have these delays or hiccups in your projects. And is that kind of why you think a lot of people are still attracted to the Pittsburgh market is because of the price points?
Yeah, definitely. I think, just cheaper properties invites a little bit, less risk. You have less capital kind of outlaid into these properties. So, if you're buying $100,000 house rather than like a $300,000 house, inherently you have less capital at risk, so you can kind of weather the storm a little bit better. Um, and there's still decent areas you could get for like those cheaper price points that are cash flow centric and stuff. Like we don't have a ton of like really bad neighborhoods here in Pittsburgh, lucky enough. And then even like some of the cheaper areas aren't too bad. So that's kind of a luxury that we have here versus some other places where, if you are getting a $100,000 house in some cities, you might be in a pretty rough area. But here you can kind of find something that's decent, cash flow centric, but not too bad.
I think that's you kind of touched on it also. Like even Mikey, he was very impressed with like Jeremy when they're doing the bus tour. Just even like street by street type of things, right?
Oh
So
yeah.
like you're saying, a certain area, a lot of people might hear that zip code or name and be like, oh no, you don't want to invest there. And it really comes down street by street, and that's where Jeremy was breaking it down. Like this part of this area is a good or
Yeah.
decent part to invest in and whatnot, right?
He's an expert with that. Like he knows it like the back of his hand. A lot of these areas, he's like, oh, the 300 block past this one, like that one's no good. But if you go past that, like you're all good. Like just being in the business for so long, he knows some of these areas like the back of his hand. I'll have to like look at a map sometimes and like Google Street View it. But he's like, oh yeah, once you get to the 300 block, it's not so good. But if you're on this other side, like you can find good people or whatever. So I'm sure that was really productive for everybody
Yeah,
on the
I
bus
think
tour.
Yeah, I think that's what people liked about Alex's presentation also on Friday, just kind of the honesty, about the area markets and even like, his because I was watching the live stream and going
Mhm.
back to Jack, he did a great job getting the live stream out there and letting people see it that weren't able to attend. But even Alex just talking about like, for tenant screening, like I don't trust anyone
Yeah.
and talking about service dogs and all this. And it
Yep.
just, he's been in the game long enough to kind of read people in a sense, right?
Yeah, he's seen a lot over 30 years, I'm sure. So it's nice he can pass that on to all the clients and everybody.
Yeah, hopefully Greg's able to get on. I mean, I think he had a great presentation, talking about contractors and getting work done. But before we went live, we also kind of were touching on, what are you seeing recently? Because there's rates have come down, pretty quickly in the mortgage side of things, and even Michael Zuber's been talking about how activities picking up in a lot of markets. He's hearing from a lot of his viewers. So, is that what you guys are seeing right now in your area?
Yeah, I would say I've seen like a relative small uptick in like kind of sentiment and people being interested in stuff. Uh like people are looking forward to the rates coming down. Like I mentioned to you, it sounds like they're gonna drop 50 basis points. I was expecting 25, like a quarter point, but um, 50 would be huge. And I've noticed on the flips too, like some of these flip listings I have, they're getting people in there, which is good. Like for a while it was just real slow, but like we're getting showings on these properties. It seems like things are gonna move a little bit quicker than they were. So relative to what we were seeing even like, I don't know, a month or two ago, it feels like things are kind of opening up a little bit. Uh, like buyer sentiment is a little bit better. So, I mean, we'll see how things progress.
All right. I don't think Greg might make it back on. I think someone hit his vehicle while he was looking for a
Oh
Wi-Fi
my
spot. So
God.
we'll get Greg and Jeremy back on another time to recap their end. But like I said, you are also there. So I think, like you said, it was great meeting everyone in person, and I think that's a lot of people's takeaway. What else? Oh, Mikey was very impressed with just the people. I guess he was maybe cautious of how he would be treated, maybe in a sense,
Hmm.
but he
Hmm.
went there and like I said, he loved it, and he just said everyone was super cool, super friendly, and like I said,
Yeah.
he's thinking of moving there in a sense.
Everybody who moves here, it's like they don't know what to expect, but they end up loving it. I've noticed that from a lot of people I've talked to who moved to the city because my wife is at school at Pitt, and in her class there are a ton of people that moved across the country or whatever to Pittsburgh. And they've all been like, honestly, yeah, it's a great city. I'm really loving it here. And even me, like I wasn't expecting to like be here for as long as I have been, but it's just a city that kind of grows on you. You just notice like the quality of living is so good. Everybody's super friendly. It's easy to get around. It's cheap. So yeah, I mean, it's like I think it's very underrated.
Anyone that is tuning in that did go to the event, was there any questions you had for Liam after you guys maybe went on the bus tour? Like Jeremy showed you some areas. Is there any other things you gotta know about certain spots that you drove through? But let's see here. BuzzTune, Mikey says, I only drove the bad side of Aliquippa solo by himself. So Jeremy was sharing great info on specific streets. Yeah, that's kind of what we touched on.
Hmm.
Josh is asking Mikey, are you really thinking about moving? J6 said even dogs liked him. There must be a story there. Something must have happened that Mikey's not telling me about. I know Mikey had a great experience with his Airbnb neighbors. We'll leave that for another time, but his neighbors were keeping him up at night. Let's see. Flavio saying, I'm glad everyone went back safe. Yeah. So Andy, I talked to Andy yesterday, and Andy, he came from Ohio, and he was like, yeah, Pittsburgh, very super, everyone was friendly and super chill place. And he said, going back to Ohio, maybe like an hour from where his actual destination, I guess he not got into trouble, but there was some sketchy stuff going on, and he was just like,
Oh
"Man, I'm going
man.
back to Ohio, and I'm,
Yeah.
running into issues." But let's see. Mikey says, "I want to visit with his wife. He wants to show her Pittsburgh, and then." Her decision to move there. Yeah. So Mikey also mentioned the wife was kind of researching Pittsburgh and Japan and whatnot, and I guess she found out it seems as if Japan's winters are actually more harsh than Pittsburgh. So yeah,
I hear, I mean, I'm really into like snowboarding and stuff and skiing. And I mean, Japan's like on the top of my destination list for that because I hear it's just like incredible. Jeremy, I guess, he took like, I think he took Japanese in like high school and he had the opportunity to go on a field trip to Japan, but he didn't get to go. So now he like really wants to go now that he's older and can. So I think it's both it's on the top of our list for both of us for like destinations at some point. But yeah, I've heard the skiing and snowboarding there is awesome. So I wouldn't be surprised if the winters are kind of harsh or whatever.
yeah, Japan is great. Mikey loves it. I mean, that's his kind of original plan, is to kind of live there. And I know for him, he's talked about kind of his goals and maybe his end goal number. And I think, they're looking at only maybe at this point 4K, 5K a month, and they'll be
Hmm.
living kind of, in a good situation in
Yep.
Japan. So
Yep.
that's kind of his vision. Let's see. Alex was there. Greg. The HVAC. There was an HVAC guy, right?
I think it
Have you
was
ever
I
worked with him
think
before?
I showed up like halfway through his talk. It was actually Jacek here in the chat. Um, I don't know. I thought I previously heard he was an HVAC, but he was touching on all types of things like management stuff, some investment stuff, um, some AI stuff that I kind of missed, I guess. But I walked into the meetup and I saw Alex like and on his notepad it said AI guy, and I was like, oh, I guess Jason's the AI guy. I was like, I missed some of this, but that was a good talk as well. He kind of crushed it. So yeah.
Yeah, I think before JSIC went on, there was a HVAC person, I believe. Oh, Adam. Adam was his name. So Adam was an HVAC person. But yes, JSIC was the AI guy. So he's considering investing in Pittsburgh. So hopefully he had a good time there and was got a lot of good takeaways from the market and whatnot. And hopefully he built a good relationship with you folks. But yeah, I think Jack did an amazing job. I think even like Joe V, who was able to tune into when Jack was streaming, he wanted Jack to really know how impressed he was with the event that he put together. And I heard
Great.
Jack is already kind of maybe having thoughts or plans of what the next one's going to look like as far as planning that.
Yep. It sounds like it went really well. So yeah, I mean, I think you did a great job putting it together.
So let's say Jack puts one together next year. Is there any maybe time of the year you would recommend coming or have thoughts on that?
I don't know. Probably sometime in the nicer months. There's just more to do, to be honest. Like, you know, uh, driving around, getting a better sense of the areas will be a little bit more pleasant and revealing if it's a little bit nicer out and not, the dead of winter or whatever. But anytime spring to fall would be great, to be honest. Or if somebody wants to catch like one of the events Pittsburgh puts on in the summer, like Picklesburg is a big thing. Like if he ties it into that, that could be, a fun thing for everybody to see what's going on. And there's a few like other major events around the city. Like maybe it's something like that you can plan around, but we got plenty of options, to be honest.
Um, Mikey said, "Gotta hear the story with Jacek about the confrontation with the neighbors in Mount Oliver." Oh, okay. Well, yeah, we gotta get that on a live stream maybe. Um, Rad is saying Mickey was up and coming, very group oriented and no industrial feeling. Maybe McKees. Is he saying McKees? Maybe.
Maybe
Yeah.
McKee's rocks. Yeah.
Okay. Maybe if Rad, if you're still here, you can kind of clarify that message. Jason says no confrontation, just friendly talk with some locals at more lower end market. Jace, up and coming is the key word for many areas in Pittsburgh. Okay.
Yeah. We talked about that. Like Alex touched on that too, because one of the questions was like, how do you know when an area is up and coming? And he's like, throughout my 30 years, like there's been so many up and coming areas that, they didn't pan out or whatever. Um, like I think Jeremy said that at one point he bought a bunch of properties in Sheridan because he thought it was going to turn around like heavily. And that just didn't happen. I own a property in Sheridan too. But yeah, that'll happen. It's like you think an area is going to blow up and it just doesn't quite pan out. So he was kind of saying just, make sure you're still underwriting to today's numbers and fundamentals, and anything else on top of that is just kind of icing on the cake. But there are some areas that are either, what I like to see is we're seeing some updated like recent comps that are kind of like nice renovations and they're selling higher and higher each time. So once we start to see like 3, 4, 5, 6 of those types of comps in a certain neighborhood, we're at that point. I'm like, okay, this is headed in an interesting direction. Um, we can probably comp these properties a little bit higher. It seems like there's good buyers moving into this area. Um, once the coffee shops and breweries start moving into a neighborhood, that's always a good sign. And then also if there's any like development planned in a certain path, that's also a good sign as well. So there's a few of those areas around where it's like you can safely assume that it's headed in the right direction. But I'd never be underwriting to like, oh, this area is gonna blow up in the next year. Usually it's like a 5-10 year period where you might see some serious appreciation over like the next decade or something.
Yeah, that's why I like when I get Alex on, and I think that's why he also he kind of relates to the Michael Zuber kind of one rental at a time strategy mentality, where it's kind of like you pretty much just sticking to the fundamentals. You're not getting caught up in all these new strategies. I mean, some people are killing it. Even in the community, there's people doing rent by room, and there are people doing Airbnb, whatnot. But it's pretty much you're just sticking to the fundamentals, and I
Sticking
think
to
we
your
talked.
guns.
Yeah, we talked about the
Patience.
the billion-dollar AI infrastructure maybe coming to Pittsburgh, and Alex is just like, "What are you guys talking about? I'm
He's
not
like, all
even like,
right.
yeah, if it happens, it happens." But
I was
um,
also reading an article about that because I guess there were a few other times, maybe like 2 other times in the past like 30 years where there was like something happened. There was this investment, or they thought it was kind of going to really be the catalyst for the city, and it didn't quite pan out. I think sometime in like the 90s or 2000s, there was something that happened. I'll have to refer to the article, but so I think with him being in the business so long and seeing some stuff like that and being like nothing happened, uh, I think that's probably reason for it. I don't know. This one feels different though. I think we've already kind of like been somewhat of like a tech center out here. Um, and like we have a good startup community now here. And, you know, we're just kind of on the cutting edge of a lot of stuff. And it just feels like that whole AI and energy summit and all that investment coming to town it just kind of seems like the perfect timing for it to make a pretty big impact. But yeah, we'll see what happens. Again, that'll be like a 5 or 10 year period.
Mikey's asking, is today your birthday, Liam?
No, my birthday was on August 28th, so it was like 2 weeks
Oh,
ago.
oh, well,
2 weeks ago was my birthday.
wonder why Mikey thought that, but maybe he saw something. But Chris Webb is saying that is true, but you have to watch out for certain areas where policymakers want to improve an area and give it funding. Once the funding is lost, is the area still profitable? Yep.
Mm-hmm.
We have a corridor here that was going to be the next big thing, and it pulled civic funds to help, but people did not relocate or visit the businesses. And after funding left, the businesses did too. Yeah. So,
Mm-hmm.
like I said, I think that's why Alex was just like, you know,
Yep.
whatever. I'm just sticking to my fundamentals and what works and what's been working.
Yeah, I remember last time when I first mentioned that whole all that investment coming here, someone was like, "Oh, we'll see how the local municipalities and their approvals and like if they're on board, essentially." But it sounds like since this is coming top down, and both the federal and state government are aligned on bringing this to Western PA, and all the investments already kind of like it doesn't sound like a ton of it's coming from public funds. It sounds like a lot of it's like individual companies that are committing to building out a data center or certain infrastructure stuff. Uh, they've kind of pledged those amounts or whatever. And, as those data centers, factories, whatever, get brought online, we'll have those jobs in place and stuff like that. So I don't know how that works. I'm not an expert in how that stuff will play out or like the logistics behind it, but it sounds like less of it is based on like, oh, will this certain municipality approve it, or shoot it down or whatever. But again, we'll see.
J6 brings up a good point. He says you can definitely see huge investment from state and federal level in the road infrastructure around
Mhm.
Pittsburgh. Hyder says government is always a problem and never the solution, no matter the intentions, in his opinion. Chris says yes, the local officials are rough sometimes. What did the ADU guy say? Knowing your local zone is like a cheat sheet. Great point. Yeah, absolutely. Because like I think we touched on before too, like in Pittsburgh currently, ADUs and things like that aren't really a big
I don't see a
thing right
ton of
now, right?
them.
Yeah.
I don't see a ton of them. Yeah.
I think that works well in markets where like the affordability is very
Yeah.
not,
Pittsburgh's already
yeah.
such an affordable market. And I mean, like we have plenty of housing here. A lot of it's run down, but like, if the stuff we already have is renovated and turned over and make like good livable housing, we'd be fine. Like we almost don't need a lot of development here because we have so much rundown housing that could just get turned over and renovated. It'd be fine. At least that's my take on it. But yeah, we just don't see a ton of ADUs here. Maybe because it's already a cheap market. Like if somebody were to spend the money to develop an ADU, I don't know if like the return on cost would make sense because rents are, generally pretty cheap here. If that like, you know, income on the rent side for the ADU would stack up compared to the cost to develop it. Um, but yeah, other markets are probably better suited for it.
So the place that Jack had the venue at on Friday, where was that again? And how was that a popular place to go to or
Yeah, so it was at Caliente Pizza and Draft House, and this is the location. There's a couple locations of that place. This one was in Crafton, which is kind of on the west end, out kind of towards. If you're to leave downtown and go towards the airport, it's like out that way. But still like close to the city. But yeah, that's a good spot. I when I first moved to Pittsburgh, I lived in Bloomfield, which is a neighborhood right in the East End. And this was when it was like the height of COVID, and I was working from home all the time, and my hours were really weird. It's like 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. Most days at this bank. And I would like get off work and I'd walk down the street because I was like right next to Caliente. I'd walk down the street, listen to a podcast, have a beer, and crush like 20 wings at Caliente. So it has a special place in my heart. It's a good spot. And being from Buffalo, it's like I'm picky about my wings, and they have good wings there.
Okay. Yeah, like I said, the event sounded like it went well, and hopefully next time I can make it. I know you, Jeremy, and Alex are planning on attending the Vegas event also. I know Jeremy says he's going, but I know he's expecting. I think they're expecting end of this year, right, or early next year. So that she says now he can go, but I don't
I
know.
was
We'll see.
surprised. Yeah.
Yeah,
I was
we'll see what
surprised. Like
happens
Caitlin
on.
gave you the go ahead. All right.
We'll see what happens. Maybe we have to swap him out with Greg and let Greg
Yeah.
come instead. But
Yep.
what was I gonna say also about the location? Is there? I don't know if you saw the full itinerary that Jack had set up. Is there any other place that maybe you think would have been good for Jack to put on there or for people to see?
I don't know. I think they I think he did a good job prioritizing like these are the areas where you're likely going to be interested in investing, like the Ambridge, the Alquippa, like the cash flow centric neighborhoods. That seems like where a lot of people would be interested in. But besides that, if we had more time, I think like just seeing some of the more like popular fun neighborhoods in Pittsburgh would be cool, like the Strip District or Lawrenceville, because you can kind of get a feel for like the really fun, like desirable neighborhoods in Pittsburgh. So I think if they come back out next time, maybe just spend like a day or an afternoon or night in like one of those neighborhoods and kind of see like the energy of the city a little bit more.
Yeah, so like you mentioned, Mikey was there a lot earlier, so I believe he went to Lawrenceville, and yeah, he said he really liked that area.
Yeah.
But he does say, can you talk about the Deacon and Hoover brokerage? Why you enjoy working there and having the best people around?
Yeah, I love it there. So it's a lot of people don't know what it is because it's a smaller independent brokerage. They started in like 2017. It's not like we have the name brand of like a Keller Williams or a Sotheby's or whatever, but I like it because Alex and Ian, who started it, I mean, they were investors. They worked with a lot of investors, so it is a very like investment focused brokerage. And a lot of the people who work there, Alex and Ian, Jeremy, Tony, Adam Gleave, who you've had on, they're all, you know, the way they think, that their frame of mind is very like investment focused, and that's what I like. Like I didn't even think I'd ever get into sales or like real estate brokerage, but then see like the picture I had in my head of like what an agent was just didn't really like align with what I thought I would like to do. But when I found out like, oh, I met Jeremy and I saw what he was doing, and it's like it just felt very aligned like with the way my brain works, like investment focused agent. So that's one reason I really like it, is like it's an investment focused brokerage. We get to work with investors. There's obviously agents on board that are more like retail, like your typical home buyers, and we have some commercial people as well. But generally, I think we do a good job at the investment stuff. And like it's called Deacon Hoover Real Estate Advisors, and I take that last word very seriously. Like I feel like we are advising clients on a lot of things. I think like the way Alex is, like being in the business for so long and having a management company and doing all this investing, like he's able to pass on these experiences and be very transparent with people and clients. And I think that's a little bit different from the average agent out there, but we try to advise clients as best as possible rather than just like sell somebody on something that's not going to fit their goals. So like we want our clients to succeed. We want to make things as like simple and smooth as possible, like hand everything to them on a silver platter. And I just really like the way we work through that stuff. And I just, I love the people we work with too. Like Jeremy, obviously, is like one of my closest friends, but we have such a good working relationship too. And he's a great mentor of mine. And Alex, like, is to him what he is to me type of thing. So
Hyder, take care of Jovi for me, please. Um, hey, what's up, Invest to Wealth? Hey, Jeff is here. Jeff is in Pennsylvania. I forget somewhere. I forget what area, but I don't think he was able to make it. Sounds like. I'm trying to think. I lost my train of thought where he was in Pennsylvania. Oh well. But Jacek says Butler was cool to see at night with Night Crew. Mikey missed out on some fun. Oh man. Well, at least no one got arrested. Well, that would have put an end to this yearly thing, maybe that Jack is thinking of doing. But yeah, like I keep going back. It sounds like Jack did a great job, putting this together. Oh yeah, York, PA. I always forget, or not always forget, but I couldn't think of it. But yeah, I know he was thinking of maybe trying to make the trip there, but unfortunately, he wasn't able to make it. Do you know anyone in Knoxville by any chance? Chris is asking.
I know some
Anyone?
people who have properties there. I just had a client buy a triplex in Knoxville, actually.
Chris says, I might like to move there. I mean, my friend might like to move there. So Chris is in Virginia right now, Lynchburg. Jovi's talking hockey, go Blackhawks. Now you're talking Hyder's language. But yeah, I mean, like I said, I think is a great thing to see the areas. What else did Mikey mention? Was there another area that he brought up? I know he brought up Lawrenceville was one he really liked. But some of the places Mikey was eating at, he was sending me like, oh, I went here, and I think I had Jeremy on the other week, and I was like, oh yeah, Mikey said he went to this place, and Jeremy's like, what is Mikey doing all the way out there for? Like he's like, why is he all the way over there? Let's see, Hyder, I do not know. Okay, yeah, Sierra's in not Knoxville, but I forget what exact city in Tennessee. Um, she's gone MIA again. I'm not sure where she is right now. Yeah, I know she sold her property, but I don't know if she reinvested it yet. Let's see, Hyder. Yeah, I don't know, man. So let's see, what else can we talk about real quick before I know your voice is not all there, but let me see, Jack. We talked about what Jack could maybe do for next year. Oh, actually, you did bring up something with Deacon Hoover. There is a name there that I always hear. I've only talked to him a few times. I don't really know him too well, but is the Hoover part of things.
Yeah.
And I think maybe who is that? I mean, I've never. Yeah.
Yep. So Ian was on. So Ian and Alex were at Keller Williams for a long time, and Ian was on Alex's team there. So that's how they knew each other. And then I think there were some discussions about starting like a brokerage at one point, but I don't think it ever happened. And then I think Ian went to another brokerage at some point. But then they ended up coming back and being like, "Oh, let's start a brokerage." So that's when they started the brokerage in 2017. And Ian is he basically runs the brokerage. He's like our broker of record. And Alex is like I don't know. He's also the broker and co-owner or whatever. But I think just because Alex is a little bit older, he was further along. He didn't take as much as like the management side of the brokerage, but that's what Ian does. He kind of runs everything, and he's very experienced on the investing side as well, and the sales side. He'd probably be good for you to have on at some point if he's down. I don't see why he wouldn't be. But yeah, Ian's great as well. But him and Alex have known each other for a long time.
Maybe he just ignored my email.
He might have.
Yeah.
I'll call him out about it.
Well, I was in communication with him about a transaction that was going on, and then I said, "Hey, Jeremy guys Jeremy, Liam, Alex, they come on my channel. So if you want to come on," and maybe he missed it. I got to reach out to him again. But Chris says, for those that went to the event, did you get a chance to go to what is that, Prantles or Milkshake
Primanti's.
Factory? Oh,
I think Parental. I mean, I would think Primanti's. Yeah, Primanti's and Milkshake Factory. Love the Milkshake Factory. Great spot. It's blowing up. It's getting a whole bunch of locations all over the place. Like I think I don't know if that originated here in Pittsburgh, but like I think they're kind of expanding fast. And then Primanti's obviously is like a Pittsburgh staple. I'm not a fan. I think it's overrated. I haven't gone in like years. but people love it. It's the place with like you can get like a a sandwich or a burger with fries on it, essentially. But
I
people
think
love it.
Jack, yeah, I think Jack says the same thing. Like it's not,
I don't
it's
think
just
it's
over.
anything
Yeah,
special, to be honest. I think there's some locations that are better than others, but I don't know. I think it's overrated.
Um, Rad says the Butler Night Crew was up and coming, and then J6 says the special Rachel is still coming. Okay, I don't know if I want to know about all of this, but um, okay, wait. So what's the milkshake factory? It's just milkshake. I mean,
Yeah,
what
just a
separates it?
milkshake spot. I don't know. The aesthetics inside are cool, and like I don't know, they have good flavors, and I think they have like a partnership with the Penguins. Like somebody has like a signature milkshake or whatever, but it's just like a good concept, and they've been expanding locations. There's been a couple like that. Like I don't know if like there's another one, Condado Tacos, which is a really popular like taco spot. Like they're expanding a bunch of locations too. Uh, and I think they're starting to add some like a little bit more down south or whatever. But there's been a few of those kind of franchises that have kind of popped off here and are expanding throughout the region.
Yeah, Chris says they're excellent, and I'm not sure why I Chris bringing up food and ice cream and treats, and yeah, I'll try to leave my comments to myself on this. He's probably gonna reply. I always tease him about his head not fitting in the screen. That's why when he comes on my channel, I can never get his head to fit on the screen. Andy, hey, Big Andy says we did not. I believe Jack said the original was in the Central Strip.
Yep.
We seen it while walking through there. Okay.
Yeah, I think it is in the strip. Yep.
Uh, Brian, is it dessert? Oh, it's a this. I guess he's not talking about the sandwich place.
I've never been to that place. I feel like I've heard of it, but never been to it.
See, I knew Chris would like desserts and sweets and
There's
treats.
supposedly a couple good like pastry, yeah, dessert spots, but I'm not. I mean, I like cheesecake or whatever, but I'm not big on like pastry desserts. My wife is, but I'm not.
See, Chris, yeah, Chris owned the cookie shop in Colorado, and he says,
Yeah,
yeah, and it shows.
he's got good
Uh,
taste.
oh, so J6 says him and Canadian Steven went to Permet on Friday night. Oh, okay.
Nice.
How was it? Any thoughts, J6? If you're still there, was it
Yeah, I'm
thumbs up, thumbs
curious.
down, overrated?
Give it a 1 through 10.
Yeah. So hope yeah, like I said, hopefully a lot of people I know some people that went are not investing in Pittsburgh yet, so they went to kind of check it out. So like Canadian Steven, Jacek, Elena.
Hmm.
So hopefully, yeah, we'll see if they've changed their mind and they're willing to go all in or not all in, but kind of take the leap, or are they still on the fence? But it'll be interesting to see. But I think, like you said, it was a good event to meet people in person,
Yep,
and get a
definitely
better
seems
feel.
like really productive for everybody who wanted to learn more about the areas and stuff.
Oh, Texas, yeah. Chris is wait, his shop was in Texas. Oh, but it's based in Colorado. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. The original place was based in Colorado. Jessica said it was okay food, but nothing special. Okay. Yeah, well, so this is all good feedback. Like I said, hopefully we can get Jeremy on. He couldn't make it today. Greg tried to, but we'll get them on. Like I said, Greg was got to speak, and Jeremy showed you guys around on the bus tour. So that'll be good to get their feedback. And Jack, we'll get something set up with Jack too, and maybe what he's planning for the next event next year. I think he enjoyed putting it together, and I think he enjoyed a lot of the turnout and whatnot and the feedback he got. So if anyone is still here that attended, is there any feedback from you folks that maybe Jack could look on improving on, or anything else he could work on before we wrap things up? Mary's Mountain Cookies Frisco, free plug. All right, okay. But yeah, anything else you want to wrap things up with? I know we're planning to maybe go over that flip you guys are doing with Omar. I don't know if you guys sold it yet, but I saw you guys listed, and we can maybe go through some numbers on that, on what, so people can get an idea on that later on.
Yep, that's one that a client did. Omar crushed the rehab. It's in a nicer neighborhood in Friendship in the East End. So yeah, still on the market. I think stuff at that price point is just taking like, it'll be 30 days on market type of thing till it starts to move. That's just, I think stuff at that higher price point takes a little bit longer. But maybe when I finish mine as well and get mine sold, we could talk over that as well.
Jovi, I will not read your comments anymore. BuzzTune fell in love with Pittsburgh, everything about it, but he says, but investor focus group is the best.
Mm-hmm.
J6 said, great thanks to all the locals that share the inside info with us. Yeah. I think, when were we talking about? I forget. We were talking about this recently, but I think that's why, like a lot of people that, like maybe new members that come to the school community, they just kind of pick up on kind of this little group that's forming in the Pittsburgh side of things, and they kind of see kind of this networking going on. I think that's why a lot of people are drawn to, kind of looking down into this market and kind of seeing what's going on there, just because they see this kind of group forming, and
Well,
it kind of piques their interest.
that can be a different, like the difference maker sometimes with the investments is like having, people who, to pull on or, discuss things with who are familiar with the market or whatever, like a good group plugged in or good vendors or boots on the ground. Like that can be the difference maker for a lot of people.
Yeah, and I think absolutely, like to what Jacek is saying, is like having you folks that are actually, boots on the ground or insiders, even sharing your knowledge and kind of, so that these people can kind of get a feel for who they might be working with, or if they want to work with you individuals or whatnot. And like I tell everyone, I don't tell anyone that they have to, it's not like it's like, hey, you have to work with Liam or Alex
Yep.
or Jeremy. It's these are the folks that we have good relationships with, and
Yep.
I definitely send them to other people, but it's, it's good for them to kind of see who we're working with.
Yep.
And he's recommending earplugs for Mikey next year. So I don't know if Mikey would stay at that Airbnb again next year. I don't think he got a good night's sleep.
I wonder which neighborhood it was in. Did
Oh,
he say?
Mikey, yeah, Mikey, if you're still here, what area was your Airbnb in? Yep, Hyder says love this report on the Meetup. Typical for our community. Yeah, like I said, even like Gary, there was a great turnout. So even like Dion and Lumberjack Landlord, who have much bigger channels than I do, they showed up to the event. Let's see. J6 says cost of the trip heavily outweighs any possible future problems that can be easily prevented. Yeah, very good point. Uh, yes, I'm gonna see. Like Andy, I told everyone I am taller than Mikey. So Andy's gonna bring a measuring tape. But yeah, but I also heard Liam is a giant. So, and I kind
Yeah.
of had that feeling because I seen a lot of basketball. So you're a basketball guy, Liam?
Yeah. I used to play in college for a while. Yeah. Not so much anymore. I kind of grew, got sick
Um,
of it or whatever. But yeah, I played in college.
Bloomfield. But Mikey said Bloomfield.
Oh, see, Bloomfield's great. You must have just had some bad luck where it was located, but
Well,
I don't know
I
what
don't think
happened.
I think it was more the neighbors than anything.
Yep.
It
Yep.
wasn't the location.
You'll get that.
Yeah. So wait, so who's your basketball team then?
See, I don't even follow it that much. I'm more of a
Mm,
golf guy. I'm getting back into football. Um, yeah, those are like my two sports. I feel like just like until recently, I didn't have any cable. I wasn't watching any
mm.
sports because I was just so busy working. But I'm plugged back in again, and it's been fun. Like I'm doing the fantasy league.
That's
You know,
right. Yeah,
I
you're in
got
that.
I got Red Zone the other day because Jerry was like, "You have to get it." So that's been fun. But I'm big on golf as well. Like I really wanted to go to the Ryder Cup this year
Mm.
in Long Island, but I don't know. I'd have to skip Jeremy's baby shower, which I would totally do. No offense, but if I could go to the Ryder Cup, but I don't know if I'm gonna be going.
I don't know if it's true, but I know somebody was mentioning to me like YouTube, right? Because YouTube is now taking over like the NFL games, like the live. So, but I think you can pay monthly. You don't have to buy the whole package, and it's like $20 a month, and you can watch the game. So I gotta look into that. But at the same time, I hardly sit down for a full game anymore. And
Yeah,
yeah, as long as Liam's not isn't a Bears fan, Joe V said.
go Bills.
Yeah, that yeah. Jeremy locked me out of I couldn't even draft for the first 3 rounds of
That's the
our draft.
worst. Yeah, I had no
But
idea what I was doing, to be honest. I just picked like the top players with all the projected points and then just picked like 3 Bills
yeah,
players and that was it. But I won. I won last week, which I was
uh,
surprised by.
fuck, I got destroyed. I think I lost every league I'm in, and I lost like two leagues or 2 games because of the damn fumble by DJ Moore at the end of the
Oh
game
yeah,
last night. He tried to do a lateral at the end of the game and he fumbled,
that's the
and that
worst.
negative points cost me like 2 leagues.
That's the worst.
Yeah, but Mikey says he didn't mind the area, but I guess the funny audio kept him up at night.
Yep. Yep.
Oh, Jovi's hating on the Bills. He said almost as bad,
How
I
dare
think.
you? Everybody loves the Bills.
All right, man. Well, yeah, thanks for doing. Like I said, I think what we're building in Pittsburgh is a great connection. Like I said, hopefully, you guys can be in Vegas. You, Jeremy, and Alex are planning to be there. We'll see. Like I said, I'm most interested to see if Jeremy shows up. I think you and Alex will be there.
Yep.
And then we'll see. We might have to replace Jeremy with someone else. I have a feeling he's not gonna. His pass, well, he won't be given the pass. I have a
I
feeling.
know. We'll
But
see. I'll see what I can do. See if I can nudge Caitlin in the right direction.
um, yeah, Chris, I'm done. All right, hey, what's up, Flavio's still here. But yeah, everyone, thanks for tuning in. Like I said, we'll get Jeremy and Greg on, and probably Alex, and give their point of views. And like I said, even Jack will give his recap. But yeah, thanks for doing this, man. Rest up, get your hopefully your voice comes back, your eyes better.
Yep.
But everyone, I will see everyone. What is today? Today's Tuesday, so I will be back tomorrow. I'll have 2 lenders on. I have Tyler, former retired firefighter who's in California, and Joe Farrell will be on. So the 2 lenders will be talking tomorrow about what they're seeing in the mortgage rates. So I'll see everyone tomorrow, and thanks for tuning in.